Howdy, 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 folks. This is Heimdall. Today we're going to be doing a Aurora comparison video, kind of a buyer's guide. Help you folks figure out which Aurora is right for you. Before we dig in here, I'd like to get some of the housekeeping stuff out of the way. So I'm working on a single-seat fighter comparison video, a Mustang buyer's guide video, a prospector mining guide for 319, and then additionally, there's a secret project that I'm working on with some other content creators. Can't really go into too much detail. I'll drop a hint though. The type of video they are going to be starts with M and ends with A. So if you're intrigued, hit that like and subscribe button. That way you stay notified of what's coming up. I got new content dropping almost daily. I'm working hard to get stuff out for you folks. Okay. All right, folks, if this is your first time watching one of my buyer's guide videos, I like to get the cost out of the way first. That way folks know which of the variants is within their price range. One of the neat things about the Aurora series is they are all very inexpensive. We're going to start off with the Aurora ES or Essential. The standalone, which is the only way you can buy this on the RSI page, is $20 US. In game, it's 124,100 alpha UEC. Next up, we have the Aurora MR or Mark. This is the Aurora that it comes in the Aurora starter package. The starter package retails for $45 US. Currently, the standalone ship, so just the Aurora MR, not the game package, is $30. They go on sale pretty frequently, so sometimes you can get it down to around the $40 range. Great little ship. In-game, this is 184,900 alpha UEC. Here in the middle point for the Aurora series is the Aurora LX. This is a limited availability variant, so it is not always for sale on the RSI page. Last time I saw it for sale, it was $35. In-game, it is 245,500 alpha UEC. Now for the more combat-focused version of the Aurora, we have the LN or Legionnaire. This retails for $40 US on the RSI page. In game, it could be yours for 338,400 alpha UEC. And last, we have the CL or Clipper variant. This retails for $45 on the RSI page, or in game 487,600 alpha UEC. So let's dig into the hard stats of the Aurora series. So they all have the same hull HP of 6,290. The ES, and oddly enough, the Legionnaire have the weakest shields of the bunch at 2,700. The MR, LX, and Clipper all have 3,000 shield HP points. DPS is a little bit of variation in the types. So for the ES, you have 850 DPS. Granted, that is with 2 ballistic cannons, which I would highly recommend switching out, especially if you're very new to the game. The Mark, Lux, and Clipper all have the exact same gun loadout, and the DPS on those is 390. The Legionnaire, however, has a slightly different gun loadout, and its DPS is 551. The SCM speeds are also kind of all over the place. The ES and the Luxury both have an SCM speed of 143 meters a second. The Mark has an SCM speed of 147, which is the fastest. The Legionnaire and the Clipper, both tied for last here at 138 meters a second for that SCM speed. The max speeds, the Clipper is the slowest at 1,093, and the Mark is the fastest at 1,212 meters a second. Some of the shared attributes of these ships is they all have the same hull strength, obviously. They all have 4 weapon hardpoints, and they all have at least some variation of missiles attached to them stock. They all can carry cargo crates in the back on those little rails in the back there. They all have an interior space, and it's pretty similar on all of them. It's identical on all of them, with a bed, this little space to put, delivery crates or research assistant crates, and then the cockpit area. The only one that has any variation on the interior is actually the luxury version, which you can't really see it too well, but it has an upgraded pilot's chair, which is cool for folks that are into that kind of thing. They're all fairly maneuverable, although they're a little finicky when you get into atmosphere. In fact, that's part of why the lining up on this didn't turn out as well as I had hoped. There's a bit of a storm, and it was just blowing them all over the place. But let's dig into the individual models now. So the Essential, the name tells you everything to know about this ship. It is the essentials of a ship that can get you from one moon or planet to another. It is no frills. To me, this is the Honda Civic or the Toyota Corolla of the Stanton system. They're dirt cheap. They work. I will say the stock cannons do have a great DPS for what it is, but if you're not used to using ballistics, specifically ballistic cannons, that's going to be a bit of a surprise when you get into your first fight. All of them, like I said, have this cargo rack in the back, the cargo rack for the ES, and this is the same for all of them except for the Clipper. Can carry 3 SCU of cargo, so kind of useful. If you're out running delivery missions, you want to pick up some cargo, you see some laranite for sale or something, you've actually got somewhere to put it. The Mark is right about in the mid-range. To me, that's actually what the MR stands for, is mid-range. It is better than the Essential in virtually every way. It's still really cheap. The stock repeaters that come on it, I mean, are they the greatest guns in the world? No, but they definitely get the job done. And you can upgrade that real easy to have 4 of them. And you're looking at, I think it's 41 rounds in a mag if you run 4 Bulldogs, and that means you're able to just keep fire on a target. So it's a fun little ship. This was actually the first ship I flew in game. It's the ship that got me hooked on this game. The LX kind of feels, I don't know if there's any older viewers out there, but it feels like a mid-90s dealership markup kind of thing. Like they're going to throw a leather seat in there and be like, okay, now, this is yours for only, 10 grand more than the exact same vehicle with cloth seats. But at the same time, it is kind of neat, just kind of as a little bit of a flex, not really like a jerk kind of flex, but just be like, I drive the LX, It does have slightly larger quantum tanks, which is kind of neat. And it is still, compared to other ships, it is still very inexpensive. All right, the Legionnaire has a couple of things that make it unique amongst its peers for this ship. One is the wing mounts are actually size 2. So you can take those gimbals off and actually mount size 2 guns, get a little bit of a DPS bump. If you take those gimbals off and the gimbals on the nose and just lock fire, you're going to get a pretty nice little DPS bump. It'll be a little harder to line your shots up, but once you practice with it, it's actually, in my opinion, and that's purely my opinion, a better way to go about ship combat. Another thing about it is it has a size up in missiles. So instead of, 2 size 1s, it's got 4 size 1s. So you can actually turn that into 2 size 2s if you're wanting to. And it still retains the cargo rack in the back. So all the functionality of an MR or an Essential with a little bit of extra firepower. It is also rentable, as is the Essential. And the last of them, definitely not the least, is the Clipper. I wanted to hate this ship, but the more I kind of was looking at the numbers and the more I've kind of flown it around, I actually kind of like it. It's cheaper than pretty much any of the other starter ships, except for a couple of the Mustangs. But it actually has more cargo space. In fact, you don't get more cargo space in a ship until you get up to the Avenger, which is almost twice as much. So that's quite a bit of cargo for your hard-earned Alpha UEC. All the other things that make an Aurora, the 4 size 1 points, the 2 missile slots, that's all still there. It handles just as well as the others. In fact, all of the Aurora series share the exact same dimensions. So even though it's got twice as much cargo, it's not any bigger of an actual ship. So that's kind of neat, because there's just some extra options you have there in the Clipper that you don't necessarily get in a lot of the other early game ship variants. Some of my personal opinions about these ships are any of them pair really well if you have a starter pack that is like a Freelancer or a Constellation, a large ship that is kind of hard to get in and out of places. You don't have that problem with these, and they're so cheap you can buy them. After running just a few mid-grade missions, you can get yourself an Essential. In fact, you can get yourself an Essential and get it fully kitted out with the parts you want for cheaper than most other ships stock. So that's kind of a neat thing to think about. It's also pretty small, so you can put it in places that you can't always put some of the other ones. I will admit the LX kind of feels like a waste. I mean, once again, I'm not judging anybody else's purchases. You buy the ships that you like and that you want to use. More power to you. The LX, to me, though, I mean, if you're buying it for real money, you're paying $5 extra for slightly bigger quantum fuel tank and a leather chair that you don't physically sit in. So, to each their own. The Legionnaire, if the Mustang series weren't, honestly, if the Mustang Alpha wasn't even cheaper than a Legionnaire, I would think that's a great ship. But the Mustang is just a better fighter, so the whole purpose of the Legionnaire to me is kind of filled in other ships. The Clipper, on the other hand, it's so useful. It's got 1.5 times the cargo of all the other ships that have quantum drives until you reach the Avenger. So it's a bit of a niche purchase, but if you're starting out, you're thinking about getting into cargo, but you don't want to invest in a Cutlass Black or a Freelancer, some of those larger ships that are well over 1 million credits. Throw a little bit down on this. You're losing 487,000, so it's not a small amount, but it's definitely replaceable, and it's useful. It's just so useful, and it has a lot of value at its price point. Overall, I gotta say, I give the personal favorite of the bunch to the Clipper. I think just that extra versatility of the 6 SCU just sets it above. All right, folks. Well, this has been Heimdall's opinions intermingled with some facts about the Aurora series. If you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon for notifications so you can know when new content's coming out. I enjoy making these videos. The channel has just exploded for me over the last week and a half, and I appreciate everyone that takes the time to sit down and like, comment, subscribe, and watch my videos. It means a lot to me. For those folks who aren't necessarily liking what I'm doing, hey, I'm not for everybody. Do me a favor before you hit that dislike button. Take 10 seconds, hit me up in the comments, let me know where I lost you. What do you think I could do to make a better product? My goal is to make content that works for my viewers, that's fun, informative, and to have a good time. So that's all I got. It's been a pleasure. Can't wait to get back out there in the universe, and I look forward to seeing you all out there in the verse.